teachers have conferred. And what we're going to do is we are going to do a short discussion of survey measurements. We'll do a much longer discussion of survey measurements tomorrow, and we'll talk about the theory and how it all works. But what I'd like you to do is, and what I'd like to show you how to do, is open a log file and log a data point so that you will know how to do this. So to see, to open a log file, yep, you're going to go to log files, exactly. And if you go to open a log file, so we have a couple of things in the logging options that we should talk about before you open the log file, because there's some things we can't change once the log file is open. I would like you to check the box that says also log data to Excel file, which is the first option. So if we don't log data to an Excel file, what happens is that our data is stored only as a text file. That's useful, but the Excel file has all of our equations in it. We really want those. So go ahead and please check the box next to also log data to Excel file.
Click على
So log data
Yep.
to Excel file Milon, yeah, yeah. The Excel file has all the data that you can open in Microsoft Excel, and it also has built-in equations there. So ጠቃሚ ነው። ሁሉ ጊዜ የማይቀረው የቴክስት ፋይል አለ ዝም ብሎ በኖትፓድ ምናምን መክፈት የሚቻል ዳታው ያለበት፣ ግን በኤክሰል ቢሆን በእንደዚህ በሰንጠረዥ አድርጎ ያመጣዋል። ከዛ ደግሞ እዛ ውስጥ ኢኩዌሽኖች አሉ ቢልትን አጀስት ለማድረግ ሪካልኩሌት ለማድረግ ቢያስፈልግ።
So it's very important that you always include the Excel file if you can. And the data files are small, so we want to make sure that we log as much information as we can. The other thing that I would like you to do is you have a box that says include in log file on the right side of your screen. And I would like you to check all of the boxes there. You will not look at most of this data probably ever, but if you had a problem and you were contacting tech support, we want as much information as we can. And so the information here tells us some extra details. And again, storage space is cheap, and these data files are small. So go ahead and please check all the boxes for include in log file, all 7 of those. Yep, perfect. Okay, so that means that if you ever have to send data to tech support, and we hope you don't, but if you do, then what we can do is we can look at it and say, oh, I can interpret this and this and this. And we'll tell you what we interpreted, obviously, once we look at the data. In terms of logging as a row or a column, I would leave all of those things unchecked. These are things that might change, and so if they change, we want them to be as part of the data file as a column. The other thing that you'll see in this logging setting options is prompt on manual log. We haven't really talked about this much yet, but we do have the option when we open a log file for the instrument to ask us questions. And we can use this to have it ask us what treatment or what species or what leaf number or anything that you might use to identify your leaves. And so if we are going to be doing manual logging, meaning that we choose when to log, then it's often useful to have that prompt there. At the moment, we haven't set up anything that it would ask on manual log. Thank you. Okay. So what kind of things could it prompt us for? Like I said, it could be species or treatment. Remember when Shannon was doing the software overview, she was talking about the constants and the user constants and how she had a couple set up, but you probably didn't because you have a new instrument. That's what we would be asked. That's what we would be prompted for, is those user constants. So that's an important part of doing a survey measurement. When we do a survey measurement, we might have that information because survey measurements were going around the field or the greenhouse or the growth chamber or the garden, wherever it is. We're going through our measurement. And so we may need to say, this is plant number 1, this is leaf number 2. That's what user constants, user prompts are for, to help us understand that. So let's go ahead and go over to user constants. So go to constants, please. It's between environment and stability.
ከላይ ነው constants
لا
ያለው yeah
And then go down to user,
user touch
which is between leaf light and fluorometer. Perfect. And open the editor. Tap the little button to open editor.
ታች ጋር ይታያል በቀኝ በኩል ታች open editor ሚል open editor ሚለውን ነካው yeah click it.
Okay.
There we go.
We're just going to add one. So I'd like you to tap on the green plus button. Yep.
click.
We don't we don't need that many. Go ahead and press the sometimes when you press the button, it presses a few times. This has happened to me too. You can go ahead and press the little do not enter sign to delete that.
ቀዩን ስትጫነው ያጠፋቸዋል ቀይ መቀነስ ቀዩን
Perfect. Okay.
ቀዩን ያየ
Now please tap on the name. Perfect. Yes. And we're going to rename this. So tap in the name field, right? And let's press the X button to get rid of that. And you can name it really anything you want. You could call it species or leaf or anything like that. This is just something to help you understand what you're doing. Let's call it species.
ይሄ prompt የሚባለው ምንድነው ይሄ measurement ስትወስድ measuremenቱ የምን እንደሆነ ለማስታወስ የሚረዳ ዳታው ጋር አብሮ የሚቀመጥ ነገር ነው ለምሳሌ ይሄ ጤፍ ነው ይሄ plant number ካለ ወይ ቅጠል ቁጥር 4 ነው እዚህ ለምሳሌ አንድ plant measure ያደረክ ከሆነ ለምሳሌ በየፕላንቱ 3 ቅጠል measure አድርጋለሁ ካልክ ቅጠል 1 ቅጠል 2 ቅጠል 3 እያልክ ክላሲፋይ ለማድረግና ዳታውን ኦርጋናይዝ ለማድረግ የሚጠቅም ነው ስለዚህ አሁን ይሄኛውን yeah okay so it could be like treatment ወይም ደግሞ cultivar ወይም እንደዚህ አይነት ስለዚህ name ሚለውን species በለው ማለት ምንድነው is it ዛሬ ምን ስንዴ ነው በቆሎ ነው ሜይዝ ሊሆን ይችላል ግን species ብለህ ካልከው ልክ ሎግ ስትለው ስፒሺሱ ምንድነው ብሎ ይጠይቃል መሳሪያው ስለዚህ ምን ልጠይቅህ ነው basically መሳሪያው እያለ ያለው every time you EICES መሰለኝ I think እንዴት ነበር species spell መታለኝ E yeah እኔም ሁሌ ጉግል ማድረግ አለብኝ ይሄ ነገር ይጠፋኛል
And then press save, please. And then close editor. So we have set up a user constant. So what this means is that, as Israel was explaining, when we take our measurements, then it will ask us this question. So we set it up to do that. So if we go to log files, again, please.
log file ከላይ ከስታቢሊቲ ጎን
ከላይ
So now it's going to prompt us. So every time we log a data point, it will ask us this. So I'd like you to, let's see what this looks like. If you open a log file, which is the fourth option down, perfect. And then choose new file, which is the second option down.
በቀኝ በኩል ያ
So by default, it's going to name the file with the date and the time and then log data. I usually leave the date and the time, but sometimes I don't keep the log data part of it. Sometimes I will rename that. For now, go ahead and leave it. But obviously, if you had a whole bunch of data files all named log data, that's probably not going to be very useful for you. You'll probably want to name them based on who was taking the measurement, when you were taking the measurement, things like that. But you can establish how you want to name them. Let's, for now, leave it called log data and press done. Okay, so now we have two important things. We see, well, three. We see that it says now logging to, and it tells us what file we're logging to in the left column. We see a green dot next to log files, letting us know that a log file is open. And we have log equals 0 in the corner, meaning that we have a log file open, but we haven't logged any data. One thing that we should do is we should go over to our measurements tab, please. Okay. So if we were going to take measurements, then we would be in our measurements tab. We would be looking at our data. We would say, oh, it's time to log. So what you can do is just press the log 0 button. So press there.
ከላይ በቀኝ በኩል ከላይ ጫፍ ያለው ሎግ ሚለው ይታያል
ሜዠርመንት ጎን
yeah
So you see that what has happened is now we have our log prompts has come up. And so it says species. And so what you can do is you can enter that information. So you can tap in that box. And then you could enter anything and just put a 3 or a 1 or whatever you want. At this point, we are just doing this to know how to do this.
Yeah.
And then you press done.
yeah እዚህ ላይ ነው like አሁን ለምሳሌ ሜዝ ወይም ቅጠል ሶስት ወይም whatever you want to enter እዚህ ጋር ሲመጣ you enter ግን አሁን for just to show ስለሆነ 12 ያልከው it's fine anything you can put አሁን ለማሳየት ያህል ስለሆነ
And then what you'll do is go ahead. Yep. So you can change that to what you like.
yeah
Yeah, like wheat.
በጣም ጥሩ ለማንኛውም ማነው አጨድ አድርጎ ይዞ የሚመጣው
and then press continue.
Continue. Yeah.